This segment of Safeguard Your Savings deals with making a financial and investment plan. Let's begin now. There are a few important key elements when designing your financial plan. Be sure to keep it fairly simple and realistic. Also, try to review the plan at least once a year, and if necessary, make adjustments to the plan accordingly. Anyone can successfully manage their money if they have the know-how and the will to set aside some of today's income for the things they will want and need in the future. A financial and investment plan is a personal blueprint that helps a person live within their income, identify financial priorities, allocate funds to meet expenses, meet financial emergencies, achieve a sense of financial independence and control, as well as save and invest to reach financial goals. A financial plan is a tool to get what you want out of life. Many people are unfamiliar with how to arrive at financial security. With the roadmap of a financial and investment plan, they can figure out how to get to their destination. Throughout the entire financial planning process, you will make decisions about how to distribute your income to meet your most important expenses. These decisions will be influenced by many factors, including your personal values, goals, wants, and needs. You will need to ask yourself certain questions to begin the process of framing a financial plan. Some examples of these questions are listed above. There are 4 key phases in the financial planning process. Identify financial goals, determine net worth, estimate and balance income and expenses, as well as implement and modify the financial plan. We will now talk about each of these individually. The first phase in designing a financial and investment plan is to identify individual goals. Saving and investing is easier with specific goals in mind. Goals can be divided among different categories, including short-term, medium-term, and long-term needs and wants. Needs are short, medium, or long-term goals that must be met. Examples are paying off a credit card, building an emergency fund, and saving for retirement. Wants, on the other hand, are short, medium, or long-term goals that are not absolutely necessary. Examples of these are saving to buy a new electronic device or for a special vacation. It is extremely important to set a manageable number of goals that are attainable, rather than an overwhelming number that are unrealistic. The first step in Phase 1 is to make a list of all goals and then prioritize them according to the importance and the time it will take to reach each of them. After identifying personal goals, the next steps are to determine the cost of these goals. Set a date for completing each one. Estimate how much will have to be saved and/or invested each month to reach each goal as well. Once you have identified what you want to achieve with your plan, the next step is to determine where you stand financially. To do this, you will need to prepare a net worth statement. This is also called a personal balance sheet and is a comparison of what you own, which are called assets, to what you owe, which are called liabilities. It is like a snapshot of your household's financial condition at a certain point in time. Follow these simple steps to determine personal net worth. List the market or resale value of all your assets. List all liabilities or money owed to others. Determine the total assets and total liabilities. Then subtract total liabilities from total assets. Determine if there is a positive or negative number. Your net worth should grow with at least the rate of inflation, unless there are good reasons for it not to have grown, such as unemployment, college, or retirement. An income and expense statement, sometimes called a cash flow statement, lists and categorizes the money an individual receives and spends. It is a financial planning tool that helps individuals determine the following aspects of their financial picture: the amount of money to be set aside for future goals, the extent of personal debt, the amount of interest being paid, and how to pay off debt faster while still saving and investing for future goals. The income and expense statement is usually prepared on a bi-weekly or monthly basis. The statement comprises an income component and an expense component. Income is payment received as a result of investments, interests, or work. If expenses do exceed income, what expenses can be reduced? Look for things that you can live without and live without them. Before you buy anything, ask yourself if there is anything that you would like more. If there is, do not buy it. What expenditures can be postponed? Do you really need a new car just because you needed to repair your brakes? Are the car payments worth that new car smell? How can income be increased? Can someone take a job or perhaps a second job? Does someone have skills that are not being rewarded at their present job? Can they find one that does? The challenge here is to balance income and expenses to live comfortably now while saving for future goals. In the long run, people who live within their income are more likely to enjoy the freedom that comes with being financially independent. The final phase in developing a personal financial and investment plan is to implement and modify the plan. This includes several steps. First, review personal debt situation. Credit allows individuals to have and enjoy things now and pay for them later. It is convenient and can be a cushion in emergencies. But credit costs money and can encourage overspending. How much debt is affordable and realistic? One rule is that no more than 20% of a household's take home pay should be committed to consumer installment and credit card debt. Paying cash is almost always less expensive than using credit. When credit is used, it is best to borrow as little as possible, seek the lowest finance charge and annual percentage rate, as well as pay off the loan as soon as possible. The next step is to allocate savings and investments to reach goals. The best way to take care of financial needs is to pay yourself first. That is, establish a set amount to save and invest each payday rather than immediately spending it on once. The habit of saving regularly for future goals is a powerful financial tool, even if the amount saved each payday is small. The third step is to implement the plan. It is important to understand that there is nothing embarrassing about using a financial professional to help select specific investment products. There are also numerous resources at your fingertips to help you make decisions. You should be conscious, however, of the need to check out your financial professional just as diligently as you would research picking a stock or a mutual fund. Let's cover some key things you will need to consider when it comes to setting up an investment plan. One thing you will need to consider when setting up an investment plan is risk tolerance. Younger people have more time to invest, so they can take more risks and look at more aggressive investment alternatives. The greater the risk you are willing to assume to make money, the more money can be made. Key factors that determine your risk factor are age, income, and investing experience. Remember, risk is a chance you take that an investment will lose money or will earn far less from one investment than another. If you can't reasonably expect to do better than that for the risk being taken, there's no sense in taking that risk at all. Another thing you will need to consider is your time horizon. The number of years you have to invest will be one of the major ways to choose investment products. For example, if you will need money in 5 years, you wouldn't want to invest in a bond that is tied up in funds for 20 years. Similarly, you can consider an aggressive growth mutual fund if you do have 20 or 30 years to reach your key goal. Investment products are like tools. When the right tool for the job is used, investors get the best result. And of course, diversification is always an important component. Investors shouldn't put all of their eggs in just one or even two baskets. Buying an investment product, such as a mutual fund, that involves multiple investments, reduces your overall level of risk and increases long-term potential for making a profit. Investors seek the dual goals of growth and safety by distributing their investments among the three major asset classes: stocks, bonds, and cash or cash equivalents. Investing in all three categories helps shelter against major losses. This is true because stocks, bonds, and cash investments not only produce returns in different ways, they also tend to provide their greatest return at different times. In most time periods, if one asset class is performing poorly, the other two are doing better. Asset allocation is the method you will use to diversify your portfolio. Financial and investing plans are like fingerprints. Every person needs a financial plan that is suited to his or her specific needs. How this customized approach is put together can have major implications for return on investments. It is important to recognize that asset allocation is a two-step process. First, you assign a percentage of your entire portfolio to each asset class: stocks, bonds, and cash. Second, you select a variety of investments within each of the three classes to make up that percentage. Your personal situation will determine what percentage of your portfolio is assigned or allocated to each class. Finally, review and modify the plan as needed. A financial and investment plan is an ongoing process. It is a tool to help individuals reach their financial goals. Reviewing and modifying the plan is essential to the effectiveness of the overall plan. An important goal of the financial plan is to protect against financial risk. This presentation was made possible by the Secretary of State's office as well as the Investor Protection Trust.